What is the ecosystem of your business? For example, cars need gasoline or electricity to run. Cell phones need Wi-Fi or cellular service. So what is the ecosystem of your industry? And more importantly, who controls this ecosystem? You or someone else? These are just some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video right here. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Read the caption below to see how you can be a part of our exclusive business training series and get ready to succeed. All right, so I want you to picture this. Imagine you are about to buy a brand new car. Your business is going absolutely fantastic. Profits are coming in. Everything is hitting full stride. And finally, all of your hard work is about to pay off. So you are ready to treat yourself. You've had the same car for 20 years. And you're ready to get a new one. Okay, so you're all excited. You're ready to drive that car off the lot. What next? Can the car just run into eternity? No, absolutely not. So what else do you need? Well, if the car doesn't have gasoline or it's not fully charged, if it's an electric car, how far are you going to get? Nowhere. So you actually need to make sure the car is filled with gasoline. What happens every 3,000? 5,000, 10,000 miles? You are going to need to get an oil change. You're also going to have a maintenance schedule. The brakes are going to wear. You might need a new air filter. But here's an important question. When you're talking about the gasoline and the oil change and the oil itself, who controls that? Does the automobile industry control the gasoline, or is there a completely different industry that controls it? And is that industry reliable? Here's another question. What else might you want in that vehicle, right? So you might not need these different items, but they're nice to have. It's something that you would like. Maybe you want to add speakers to the car. Maybe you want custom seats. Maybe you want an extended warranty. All right, these are just some examples that you can actually put into the car to make it fit exactly what you want. Now, here's an interesting question. What is the future of cars? Think of what cars were like back in the late 1800s or the early 1900s. Can you imagine driving one of those cars across country today in the winter? No, absolutely not. Just the wheels itself is completely different, more reliable, more safe, more efficient. So where are cars going in the future? You know, since the Jetson days, we've been hearing about the flying cars. Will they ever come about? We hear about self-driving cars. Is that going to happen? What new technologies will be put into cars to make the drive more efficient and comfortable? Where is that industry going? So all of these questions that we just talked about, this is what we call the whole product. And for entrepreneurs, this is a real important topic for us to understand, because sometimes we're so involved in just our product, we fail to see what is the entire ecosystem, because there is an ecosystem that we have to pay attention to. So when we're talking about new product, what we're talking about is it's a tool that we use to actually map out each stage of the product ecosystem so you know exactly where the development of the product is going. But what it also does is it helps you to identify who controls each stage, or what brand is a major player in each stage. For example, cars need gasoline in order to run, but does the car industry manage the gasoline industry? No. Two completely different industries, completely different brands. So a car relies on gasoline, but the gasoline industry is actually out of their control. So is this an industry that they can rely on? Is this an industry that is reliable, that will always be there when people need it? Or is this an industry that is unreliable and which could impact the car industry. Okay, so those are some of the things that we're talking about. When you're talking about new whole product, what's really interesting is there's a book out there. It's one of my favorite books. It's called Crossing the Chasm. It's written by a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Moore. I would highly recommend it. He goes into this in great detail. It's a fantastic book. So what exactly are the different stages of the whole product? All right, there's 4 of them. Here's the first one. It's what we call the generic product. And what the generic product is, what comes in the box. So if I were to purchase a car, what exactly comes with it? Well, I would get the car. I might get a basic 3-year warranty. Maybe I get a free oil change for a year or 2 years or 3 years. Maybe I get a couple of complimentary tires. I obviously get the package or trim level that I bought. And that's what we're talking about, the generic product. What comes in the box, right? So if you buy a cell phone, what comes with that purchase? Well, you'll get a cell phone. You'll get the package. You'll get the instructions. You're probably going to get a 1-year warranty with support. And then what else might you get? Well, you might get a charger to help charge the phone. And these days you get a cable, and that's about it. Back in the day, you used to get headphones. What exactly is included in the product? That's what we're talking about with the generic product, right? So this could be the product itself, the packaging, any included accessories, warranties, as well as updates. So that's the first stage, and we're going to get into this a little bit later down in the video. Second stage is what we call the expected product, okay? What needs to be purchased in order for the product to work? A car needs gasoline. A cell phone needs Wi-Fi or cellular service. Most of the time, this is going to be outside of your brand. Most of the time, not all the time. Most of the time, this is going to be outside your brand. As we talked about, the car automotive industry does not run the gasoline industry. 2 completely different industries. Apple does not run utilities or a cellular service company or the Wi-Fi. It's a completely different entity. So again, here are some examples. Car needs gasoline in order for it to run. Printers need ink. A cell phone needs service. TV needs electricity, okay? So the key thing that you got to think of here is, can I rely on someone else, or do I have the capability to actually do the product myself, all right? Here's an example. There is a gas station on every corner practically throughout the country. It is very easy if you're on a road trip to make sure that there are plenty of places for you to get gas. Well, let's look at EVs, electric vehicles. Do they have that same luxury? No, absolutely not. There is not even close to the infrastructure available for EVs to actually get their cars charged. So Tesla, the largest EV manufacturer here in the U.S., what they did is they didn't want to rely on an outside entity to build this infrastructure out. They started to do it themselves. So what they did is they actually started to create, and they're in the process of creating, an entire ecosystem of charging ports. So instead of relying on a different industry to take control of this system, Tesla is actually taking it in their own hands. So this is an example of what we're talking about, where the expected product is it something that you have to rely on another individual or entity to manage, or is it something that you have to take control of and build it out yourself? Okay, so we have the generic product, what's in the box, the expected product, what we need in order for the product to actually work and do what it's supposed to do. The third one is what we call augmented. Now, these would be your add-ons. These would be your upsells. These are your nice-to-haves, but they're not essential. They're normally high-profit items. So here are some examples of the augmented product. Cell phone cases, right? So a lot of times if you buy a new cell phone, they try to sell you the case. And sometimes these cases can be up to $30 at the store, right? So you know there's a high profit margin in that. Extended warranties with your car. Advanced speakers, custom seats. These are all augmented products. Have you ever heard of the phrase, would you like fries with that? That's an augmented product. A dessert at a restaurant. So what an augmented product is designed to do is it's not essential like the generic or the expected product, but it's an added bonus to increase the experience. And also it increases our sales as well. Now, here's the final one. This is what we call the potential product. Where could this industry go in the future? What new features are you working on that you could actually incorporate into this product? So here are a couple of examples of that. Number one is the App Store on Apple. Think of when the iPhone first came out around 2007. Think of the App Store then. Most people didn't even know what the App Store was. There was a TV commercial that said there was an app for that to help educate people on exactly what the App Store was. But look at what it evolved into, right? There are so many more apps on the App Store today than there were in 2007. There's going to be so many more apps on the App Store in 10 years from now than are today, right? That is an example of how a product can grow. In this case, Apple created an infrastructure, the App Store, a platform, in which outside entities can continue to evolve and develop their own creativity or business assessment for consumers. And they created this ecosystem that could advance into eternity as far as new apps allowing on the app program. Okay, does that make sense? Next, self-driving cars. We're hearing about this right now. It is being tested. In some areas, it's already being released. But this could be a potential product. This is where the car industry could go down the road. Here's another example. Think of the black and white TVs back in the 1950s. And now think of the TVs today. Look at how much the TV industry has evolved. Now, where is that industry going forward? We've already seen how far they've already advanced. Okay, where is it going now? And that's what we're talking about. You always want to keep your products evolving. So where is your product evolving into? Okay, that's what we're talking about with the potential product. So to wrap up the whole product, we have 4 layers. The generic, what is included in the price. The expected, what is needed outside of that generic product in order for your product to work. The augmented, what are some add-ons and bonus features I could sell to increase profits and increase the experience. And then finally, potential product. How is my product going to evolve over time? Where do I see my product evolving into? Okay, now, what do we do? The first task is what you need to do is you need to identify your generic product. You need to identify your generic product. Okay, so how exactly do we do this? First thing you need to do is I would look at your CTQ. Remember, all of these tools are connected. Look at your CTQ. And in looking at your CTQ, look at the benefits. What exactly does the consumer need? What exactly does the consumer need? What end results does the consumer need in order for them to make that purchase? Okay? Those are the items that you want to include into your generic product. Now, as you're looking at your CTQ, you're going to notice that they're going to be items that the consumer would like to have, but they're not essential for them to buy. So those like to haves, where could they fall? The augmented, okay? So again, look at your CTQ. What items are absolutely essential for the consumer to find value in your product for what you're charging, and incorporate that into your generic product. Another thing you can look at is your segment Y. So look at all the segments that you've listed. Look at the why. Why would they make a purchase? And make sure those items are included in your generic product. The other thing you can do is you can look at your market tier. What quality of level of performance is your target audience expecting, especially for what they're paying? And does your generic product match that level of expectations? Okay? What does the solution need for the consumer to buy? That's what we're talking about with the generic product, okay? What is everything that the solution will include? That is what we're talking about with the generic product. Do you offer a warranty or not? Will there be updates such as a laptop or a cell phone or an app or a website? What accessories are going to be included? What does the packaging look like? And what's the included experience? So, for example, if you go to a hotel, complimentary breakfast could be part of that generic package. If you go to a theme park, all the rides, the attractions, the shows, that is all part of the generic product. So you want to map it out and try to be as complete as possible. What exactly is included in this product? Let me give you some examples. Let's say you are a business consultant and you're putting together a package for entrepreneurs, all right? Now, let's say you look at your CTQ and these entrepreneurs need something that's on demand because they have a busy schedule. All right, so what am I going to include in my generic product that's going to match that element of their need of having it on demand? Well, I'm going to have online videos that they can watch anytime they want throughout the app, okay? That's an example. In addition, I'm looking at it and they want to be able to ask questions and have their questions answered. So I'm looking at my CTQ and I'm looking at my features and I say I'm going to offer emails. I'm going to do 4 emails a month. So they need their questions answered and I'm going to include allowing them to actually email me 4 times a month, and all of their questions within those 4 emails I can answer for them, okay? Final one is they might want an in-person element to this package. So I'm going to offer a 2-hour consultant session every single month. So this is what we're talking about. So there's 3 items that the consumer needs in order to make a purchase in this hypothetical example. They need something that's on demand. They need to have their answers, their questions answered, and they want some type of in-person component. So I'm going to wrap all of these 3 items up, and that's my package that I'm going to sell to them. Okay, that's one example. Here's another example. Let's say you're a coffee shop. Now, in a coffee shop, you're going to have multiple items, right? You might have an Americano. You might have a cappuccino. You might have an espresso. You might have flavored lattes. It's okay under your generic product to have many items because that's probably going to be what's going to happen. You're probably going to have many different items. That's perfectly fine. But what is included? Some cafes, actually most cafes, will include milk, cream, almond milk, sugar, or is almond milk an add-on? Is cream an add-on? All right. So these are some of the things that you got to build out. Some cafes, they'll actually, especially in Europe, they'll give you a complimentary small biscotti along with the cappuccino or the espresso. Okay. What is included? What is included in the price? So I gave you an example of a package that covered a number of different things, a business consultant package that covered a number of different things the target is looking for. Then I gave you an example of a cafe that had multiple products and what would be included in that. Now notice this. A lot of times, many businesses, they'll offer different price points, a low, a medium, and a high. Now remember, this is not economy, mainstream, premium. Like, we're not talking about market tiers here. We're talking about different layers within your market tier. It is perfectly okay to do something like this. So for example, a car lot, right? They might have a sedan that's $30,000. Then they may also have an SUV that's $40,000. They might have a hybrid that's $50,000. So here they're offering 3 different layers of pricing options, 3 different vehicles for the consumer to pay for. But again, what's the generic product, right? What is included in this $30,000 or what is included in this $40,000? Well, in this example, all of these cars include a warranty and a free oil change for 3 years. All the cars include that. That is what is included in the price. So that's what we're talking about with the generic product. Now, as you're developing your generic product, what you have to keep in mind at all times, is it in line with your segment and competitive strategy? Is it in line with your segment and competitive strategy? So look at your segment. What do they need? What market tier are they in? Is your generic product in line with that? So for example, if you're offering a low quality product to a premium tier, is that going to work? Absolutely not. You have to make sure that your generic product is in line with your market tier. It also has to be in line with your competition strategy. So if you are trying to compete on price and you create this elaborate high quality product, are you still going to be able to sell that at a cheap price, which is what your competitive strategy is? If your competitive strategy is differentiation, is there truly something different about this generic product that you're selling? All right, so does that make sense? Task 2, identify the expected product. Identify the expected product. So a power washer needs water. A grill needs propane. A remote control needs batteries. A coffee maker needs coffee. But here's what you also have to look at. Who will control this expected product? Is it you or is it another brand? If it's another brand, are they reliable? Is it a high quality? What is going on with the price? Is it something that the consumers can afford? Or is it so expensive that a consumer might not buy your product because of that? All right. So these are all the things that you have to think of with the expected product. Is the expected product eventually something that you want to incorporate, or it's an industry you want to get into? Or is it too complicated, like the gas industry, and you just want to let someone else handle that part of it? These are some of the questions you have to ask. Now, in the supplemental content, we're going to go over this in greater example for those who actually need it. So that's a supplemental video. So pay attention to that one if it will help you out. Okay. Task number 3, identify the augmented product. Identify the augmented product. So here are some examples. Maybe you want to upgrade your room on a cruise, right? Instead of having a small cabin, maybe you want a bigger cabin that has an ocean view. On a laptop, maybe you want extra RAM to make it faster. If you're buying a bike, it could be a lock and a water bottle. If you're at a restaurant, it could be buying dessert, okay? So these are just examples of the augmented product. These are some examples of the augmented product. What add-ons are you going to offer in your solution? Now, here's an important thing to think of. How will your customers respond? And more importantly, is the competition charging for these upsells? For example, a lot of hotels offer complimentary breakfast. So if you're going to offer breakfast, are you charging $20 for it while the competition is providing them for free? Here's another example. Obviously, when you buy a car, the wheels are included. Imagine if you went to buy a car, and all of a sudden on the bill you saw a $5,000 charge extra for the tires. We expect the tires to be included, so it would turn the consumer off if you were to charge for them. So just be careful with the augmented product, all right? Just be careful with the augmented product. If the consumer is expecting it in part of the price, it's going to be very challenging for you to actually charge extra for it down the road, all right? Task 4, identify the future product. Identify the future product. What can this product grow into? The advancement of the television, the advancement of the automobile. Where is this going? The advancement of the iPhone App Store. Is it going to be a self-driving car? Laptops continue to be more powerful and faster. But here's an interesting one. Look at this. Yogurt and cheese for milk. This is a little different than the others. When we're talking about yogurt and cheese out of milk, we're talking about byproducts. Gasoline was a byproduct of kerosene. What is a potential byproduct of what you sell? Now, maybe there isn't one, and that's fine. If there isn't, there isn't. But if you could actually find a byproduct of what you sell, like yogurt and cheese come from milk, that could be an entire new revenue stream, an entire new product line for you to get into, okay? So these are just some questions for you to think of. Now, whole product, here's your worksheet. You're going to identify your generic product, what will come in the box, what is included with the purchase. Do you offer warranty? Will there be updates? Any included accessories? What will the entire experience like? What will be included in the packaging? So draft that out. Expected product. What is essential for the product to work outside of this purchase? A car needs gasoline, a cell phone needs Wi-Fi or cell service, TV needs electricity. Who controls these services, and are they reliable? Okay. Augmented. What add-ons or upgrade can you sell to enhance the performance or experience? Is your competition including these in the price, or are they charging for it? And then finally, the future product or the potential product. What can this product grow into? Are there byproducts such as cheese and yogurt for milk, or extended product lines? If you sell t-shirts, can you expand into shorts and sneakers? Can you extend that product line? How will the product advance in time? And again, think of the black and white television or the automobile back in the day and think of it today, how much that has advanced. How can your product advance? All right, so that is your product ecosystem. Now, if you can map this out as an entrepreneur, you can see how valuable this is. You can see what entities you need to rely on. You can see where the future potential is of your product. You can see what's needed in order for your product to sell with the generic. All right, so what's next? We've done a lot so far in this series. We have identified where new ideas come from. We've talked about a CTQ where we talked about what benefits the consumer expects and what features we need to include in order to make those benefits come alive, and how are we going to measure and get a feedback loop to ensure this is working. Now we talked about the entire ecosystem of the product and what that ecosystem looks like. So what we're going to do in the next video is we're actually going to talk about the complete product design. And in this product design, what we're talking about is the physical, the technical, the emotional impact of this product. What does all of that look like? So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about in the next video, as well as so much more. Okay, Bible verse of the day. I am sure of this, that he who started a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. He who started a good work in you will carry it on to the completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So in faith, we believe that God is doing something good inside of us, that God is actually creating talents, and he's creating different works of good deeds. And in return, our job is to share those works and share those good deeds with others up until the last day as an ongoing process. In applying this to business, what we are talking about is your product should have good deeds and works for your segment. There should be a reason why they're buying it. There should be value in their eyes, which is why they value it. But it doesn't stop at the product. It continues throughout an entire ecosystem. And it continues until to the last day of that product, right? So what is this ecosystem? What exactly does this look like? How are other entities incorporated into this? And where is this product going to in the future? So not only is God creating a good work inside each and every one of you that incorporates other people, that incorporates other entities, and allows you to pour blessings out to other people and other entities. Same thing with your products and the business application. Where is your product going? What does that ecosystem look like? And how is that advancing? All right, everyone, that is today's video. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a good one, guys.